Hey, Disciple Daily Fam. Okay, so I was watching on YouTube the podcast of We Need to Talk with Ezekiel, and the pastor he had on here for the guest speaker of the day was what's his name? I call him Pastor O. He's the pastor of the Lionheart Church in Mapleton. But I was watching the podcast, and he spoke on how Christians would say, or people in general would say, once saved, always saved, and that is not always the case. Like, according to the scripture, which I'll read shortly, is not the case. So Pastor O gave to the scripture in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. I'm sorry, 26. It says, "For if we go on sinning deliberately after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sin, but the fearful expectations of judgment and the fury of the fire that will consume the adversaries. Anyone who has set aside the law of Moses dies without mercy on the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. How much worse punishment do you think will be deserved by one who has trampled underfoot the Son of God and has profaned the blood of the covenant by which he has sacrificed and has outraged the Spirit of grace? For we know him who says, 'Vengeance is mine, I will repay.' And again, the Lord will judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God." So with that being said, if you sin deliberately and you already gave your life to the Lord and you keep on sinning, this right here says that you already have knowledge of the truth. But you decide to keep doing what you want to do. So therefore, you know what you're doing. And according to what the pastor said and what the scripture says, you know what you're doing. So therefore, you're choosing to do wrong. So people will say, okay, well, I'm saved. Once saved, always saved. And that's not the case. Yeah, you gave your life to God, but if you keep choosing on making those bad choices and keep living the way you want to live, you're still doomed for hell. Like, you might still go to hell because you're not following his commandments, number one. Number two, yeah, he did give us free will, and you still have free will even after you gave yourself to Christ, and you chose to still do wrong. You still can lose your salvation once you give it to Christ. So, with that being said, once saved, always saved, that's just a saying. It's not truth, according to the scripture. All right, so just remember that. If you're one of those people who say once saved, always saved, refer back to this video, okay? So like I always say, live it, share it, and multiply disciples.